The United States of America, a nation built on ideals of liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. From humble beginnings as a group of colonies to becoming a global superpower, the history of the U.S. is a story of revolution, expansion, struggle, and progress. In this video, we will take you on a journey through the history of the United States, from the early colonial period to its rise as a modern world leader. The history of the United States begins in the early 17th century, with the arrival of European settlers. In 1607, the first permanent English settlement, Jamestown, was established in Virginia. Over the next few decades, more colonies were founded along the eastern seaboard, including Plymouth in 1620, where the Pilgrims established one of the first self-governed communities. These colonies were part of the larger British Empire, but tensions began to rise as the colonists chafed under British rule. By the mid-1700s, the American colonies were growing increasingly dissatisfied with British policies, including taxes without representation and restrictions on trade. The dissatisfaction with British rule eventually led to open rebellion. In 1775, the American Revolutionary War began, sparked by events like the battles of Lexington and Concord. Over the course of the war, the colonies united under leaders like George Washington, and in 1776, the Continental Congress issued the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson. The declaration marked the birth of a new nation, breaking free from the British Empire. The war would continue for several more years, with the colonists receiving crucial support from France. Finally, in 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, officially recognizing the United States as an independent country. After the Revolution, the United States faced the challenge of creating a stable government. In 1787, the U.S. Constitution was drafted in Philadelphia, replacing the weak Articles of Confederation. The Constitution established a federal system with a strong central government, and it created the framework for the country's political system, including the presidency, Congress, and the Supreme Court. In 1789, George Washington became the first president of the United States, setting many precedents for future leaders. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, was added in 1791 to protect individual liberties. In the 19th century, the United States began to expand westward. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803, under President Thomas Jefferson, nearly doubled the size of the country. As settlers moved west, they encountered new challenges, including conflicts with Native American tribes and the question of whether new territories would allow slavery. The nation faced internal divisions, leading to the War of 1812 with Britain, and the Mexican-American War in the 1840s, which resulted in the acquisition of modern-day California, Arizona, and other southwestern territories. However, the expansion also brought about growing tensions over the issue of slavery. The South's reliance on slavery for its agricultural economy clashed with the growing abolitionist movement in the North. By 1861, the tensions over slavery and states' rights reached a boiling point, leading to the outbreak of the Civil War. The Southern states, which depended on slavery, seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. The North, led by President Abraham Lincoln, sought to preserve the Union. The war was brutal, with devastating battles like Gettysburg and Antietam. In 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which declared the freedom of enslaved people in Confederate states. After 4 years of intense fighting, the Confederacy surrendered in 1865, and the Union was restored. After the Civil War, the United States entered a period known as Reconstruction, where the Southern states were reintegrated into the Union. However, the nation faced deep divisions over race and civil rights. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments abolished slavery, granted citizenship to former slaves, and protected their voting rights. In the late 19th century, the U.S. underwent rapid industrialization, leading to the Gilded Age. The country became a global economic power, driven by industrial magnates like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. However, the wealth gap between the rich and poor grew, and labor movements began to rise in response to poor working conditions. The 20th century brought new challenges for the United States. In 1917, the U.S. entered World War I, helping to tip the balance in favor of the Allies. But the interwar years saw the rise of economic hardship with the Great Depression in 1929, which crippled the American economy. In response, President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched the New Deal, a series of economic programs to provide relief and reform. The United States' involvement in World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 marked the nation's emergence as a global superpower. After World War II, the United States entered a period of tension with the Soviet Union, known as the Cold War. The US and the Soviet Union became superpower rivals, with nuclear weapons and the threat of global conflict hanging over the world. The Korean War and Vietnam War were part of this larger struggle for influence. After World War II, the United States entered a period of tension with the Soviet Union, known as the Cold War. The US and the Soviet Union became superpower rivals, with nuclear weapons and the threat of global conflict hanging over the world. The Korean War and Vietnam War were part of this larger struggle for influence. Meanwhile, the 1960s and 1970s saw the rise of the civil rights movement, as African Americans, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., fought for equality and an end to segregation. Landmark legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 helped to dismantle institutional racism. In 1969, the United States achieved one of the greatest technological feats in history, landing a man on the moon. The space race, led by NASA, symbolized American innovation and determination. The 21st century has brought new challenges, including the 9/11 terrorist attacks in 2001, which led to the War on Terror and the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The US also became a leader in the digital age, with technology giants like Apple, Google, and Microsoft reshaping the global economy. The United States continues to face complex issues, including political polarization, social inequality, and debates over healthcare and immigration. But it remains a symbol of opportunity, resilience, and innovation on the world stage. The history of the United States is a story of constant change and progress. From a group of colonies seeking independence to a global leader, the American journey has been shaped by the dreams and struggles of its people. The idea of the American dream that anyone, regardless of their background, can achieve success through hard work and determination, continues to inspire people around the world. The United States may not be perfect, but its story is a testament to the enduring power of hope, freedom, and the pursuit of a better future.